October 2nd? Is it not? Yeah, I think it's October 2nd? Yeah. Yes. Yes, indeed. I might head up to the Mad River Coffee House and buy some coffee and beans. J.D. Vance versus Waltz debate. I watched a little bit of it. It's hard for me to stomach that crap because of how biased the moderators are. I mean, there's so many. It's like I don't understand all the. I think Vance did a good job. Let's put it that way. Much better than I felt Trump did. Regardless of what the polls say, Trump said he won. The polls say Trump won. I don't think so personally, but let's just say, regardless of who won, I think Trump fell into the trap that they laid for him, which is typical. I mean, I remember reading people's opinions, like normal people, like in comments sections and whatnot, about Trump's performance, and I think we all agree that Trump didn't do very good, but then Trump comes out and says he won, and I'm like, okay. And the polls and everything, so okay, whatever. I don't think so. That's a whole different topic. I got a video that I did the day after, which with me, just ranting about it. I haven't posted it to YouTube. I have quite a few political videos that are a little more than me just complaining about Democrat signs popping up. I thought he did all right. I thought Waltz was, he played a pretty good game, coming off as like very humble and, everyday guy kind of thing. I mean, unless he really believes what he's saying, it had to be an act, because pretty convincing act, particularly when it came down to the January 6th stuff. I mean, and here's what I'm trying to say about the Republicans not really returning the serve well on that kind of stuff, because, like, the whole January 6th thing, I mean, who doesn't know that was, like, the biggest fucking hoax? At least the way that the mainstream media portrays it as being, what did the Babylon Bee say, the deadliest day or something like that? They really overplayed the drama. And, when things like Walt said that, this many officers were beaten that day. Well, first of all, it's not true. And second of all the people that were shot were because of the government shooting them. So, yeah, but, like, everyone ignores that. I don't know why. Like, the violence was perpetrated by the government against the citizens, not the other way around. But no one, like the Republicans, again, they don't return the serve, man. They don't hit it back. They don't hit it back into their court. So it's a bad look, because J.D. Vance just almost kind of dodged the whole thing, and saying, well, look, let's look forward. Well, first of all, address the situation and then move forward, because it looks bad. It looks like you're dodging the question. And, Waltz was saying something about the peaceful transfer of power. And And Vance got him on that, but I don't think he got him as good as he could have. I don't know if it's just the nature of, his professional manner of speaking, which he's very good at. A little bit too good, in my opinion, because like one of the reasons Trump appealed and still appeals to me is his candor. He talks like a normal person, not a car salesman. And J.D. Vance has a little bit too much of that polish, and I don't really appreciate that. I mean, we assume that, society likes that kind of thing, and maybe on some psychological level they do. I don't know. I mean, I actually wonder if that's true at all. Because to be quite honest, as pathetic as I think Waltz is, he came off, he portrayed himself as being a lot more humble and maybe even more genuine, appearance-wise, because his demeanor isn't as polished as Vance. That's my opinion, man. But to me, isn't that why Trump appeals to a lot of people? Isn't that why he became so popular? Because he doesn't talk like a salesman? So, I don't know. I don't think I'm wrong on what people actually like and what they don't like. The thing that the Republicans have to keep, nailing home, because it's a very important point, and they've made it, and Trump has made it, Vance has made it, and that's what they got to stick to, is that Kamala Harris is really just an incumbent at this point. She had, what did they say, 3.5 years to do all the things she said she's going to do, right? So it's like not this new beginning like they're trying to claim. It's the same old bullshit. And so the Republicans have to keep reminding the people of that. That's one very good point that they have to stick to. The other thing is, another thing they have to drive home, which they kind of tend to avoid, again, is these people support child abuse, child mutilation. They're against the First Amendment. They do these broad strokes. Both sides do it. So, for instance, conservatives don't want, sexually explicit books in elementary schools. And so then the left says, well, they're trying to ban books, right? So, that's one. Oh, I thought I saw a van. See that? I saw only a reflection in a window on a shop there. So let's see, what's one of the right's broad strokes? The abortion thing, kind of, but only some people, it's black or white, which I don't think it is. I don't feel it is. So the thing with abortion, the women, I was just talking to my wife about this last night. I've said this before. I don't remember if I published it, so I'm going to say it again. It's not a right. When you have to involve other people, it's not a right. It's only a right if it's self-affirming. If you have to, have taxpayers pay for it and doctors do it, it's not a right. It's just by nature, by basic natural law, it's not a right. So my wife's like, well, it's a right to choose. And I was like, well, that's different though. It's really the freedom to choose, not a right, because you're kind of perverting the meaning of right. You don't have a right to abortion. and I'm not going to say abortion's murder, but let's just say you have the right. Would it be a right to murder? No, you have the freedom to do so, and you do. Anybody does. So it's just one of those things where the left wants to redefine words to suit their narrative. Abortion is not a right. Internet is not a right. Cell phones are not a right. Clean water is not a right. Those are modern conveniences. Well, I guess abortion too, right? I don't know. Having a toilet is not a right. Smoking weed is not a right. Drinking beer is not a right. I think people need to understand what a right is. But I feel like the Republicans just constantly, because they're too nice, I think is part of it. They just constantly miss those really good jabs that they could take. Just to outline the insanity of the Democrats at this point. And that's where you can grab the independents, because I think a lot of people know that the Democrats have absolutely lost their mind because they've gone too far left. But we have to remind the people, because everyone, when you, especially in these debates, everyone starts getting lost in the weeds. And, even the candidates are getting lost in the weeds. And I think that's what's happening. We got to stay focused and continue to remind everybody of the insanity of the last 4 years. Remind everybody about why they left the cities. Remind everybody about why they left the Democrat cities. Remind everybody about how the Democrat-run cities wouldn't let people go swimming in the ocean. The lockdowns and whatnot, just the insanity. Jeez, and bird hunting started yesterday. It was too disgusting and warm out. This morning would actually have been a good day. Maybe I'll go tomorrow morning, but I think they stock. It's just so shit. The bird hunting situation in New Hampshire is pretty dismal. Did I just see a garbage truck? I just realized that. How bizarre. I've never seen a garbage truck anywhere around here. They don't have garbage pickup. They just have transfer stations that you bring your garbage to, which I think is great. There's nothing more satisfying than bringing a truckload of trash to the dump and just throwing it in there. Bumpity bump. See, this view of the White Mountains right here looks amazing. It looks amazing. In the car, you can barely see it because, this bike, you sit about at least a foot higher. That's one of the major highlights of this bike is how high up it is. I think that's great. It's good for people seeing you in traffic. It's good for seeing around stuff in traffic. I always say, people, they try to compare, the T7 to the KLR. It's you can't compare that. KLR is a KLR. There's nothing else like it. For the war on terror. I think people need to watch Terry Gilliam's Brazil. Lest they continue to make fools of themselves. There's so many reasons why I can't be like your vanilla Republican. That's one of them. I don't support the, what did Eisenhower call it? Military-industrial complex. I don't support that. You gotta remember on the turn here, it's kind of like, this place is kind of in the middle of nowhere. I think it's right here, if I'm not mistaken. And here we are. Looks a lot busier than the last time I was here. I got some kind of seasonal roast, like autumn something or other. It was a medium dark. A little on the sour side. A bit too acidic. Other than that, I've only ever had this mountain storm roast, I think. That's very good. They also have an Italian roast I guess I'll try next time. I felt like could have been a little cleaner flavor-wise. Like they need to clean their machines or something. I mean, it's drip coffee, so you have to pretty much clean those things every time you use them if you want a clean brew. That's why I stopped doing drip coffee myself. That's why I went to pour over, because you don't have to deal with that scale buildup, which is very sour tasting. I think that's the problem they had there. If you don't clean those drip brews literally every day, every time you use them, you have to clean them, or else it's gonna affect the flavor. If you want a clean brew, you gotta go pour over. Second best from there, I would say, is the vacuum on the stovetop there. Vacuum brew. And then from there, I would say French press. Although that's an entirely different brew. It's typically get a pretty strong brew with the French press, which sometimes is desirable. For every day, I like clean dark brew, but like very clean tasting. I don't like any kind of off flavors, sourness, bitterness. I like it as smooth, like butter. It's gotta be smooth there, huh? You think a little bit smooth for me? Have a little bit of a smooth coffee brew there, huh? Nice place, though. It'd be a good place to just meet people, which I'm in desperate need of. I need some friends, man. How do you make friends at this age? You gotta belong to a social group of some kind, like a church. Then you gotta deal with church people. I had enough church people growing up. I had my fill of church people butting into your lives. I mean, I get that. I used to get that from my brother when I talked to him. That's why I stopped talking to him. Pretty sure he thinks he's Jesus. That's like the mentality you get a lot of church people. So my oldest son, he's getting an ATV for his birthday, brand new, $2,700. But hey, they'll have it for a lifetime. Well, they'll have it for a while until they outgrow it. In which case, it's gonna be heartbreaking to sell that. Just like, oh man, he's had this little ride-on tractor since he was like a year old. I don't know how people sell these toys, when their kids get older. I'm gonna freaking probably tear up. Sometimes I think I'm too sensitive. I'm way too sentimental. I mean, it's just crazy to me that he's going to be 5 years old. It just seemed like he turned 4. You always heard, when I was growing up, people say, oh, time goes by fast. Never had that problem until recently. It's fucking depressing. I looked up some ideas of like how to make time go by slower. It's like Napoleon Dynamite, build a time machine. That movie nailed it, because that's like exactly how we were as kids. What a fantastic movie. Complete with like the crappy rollerblades. What did they call those department store rollerblades? Like Seneca, I think they were called. With the shitty plastic wheels. Only the rich kids got the actual rollerblades. And I would get them in like a trade or something. That's how I got my Super Nintendo. I think I traded a BB gun for my Super Nintendo. It's also how I got my Sony Walkman, because I couldn't afford that. I had I think it was like Sanyo at the time. And they were super generic, like Caldor's brand. Anybody remember Caldor's? Who am I talking to? This is my like therapy, I don't need a therapist, I just need a motorcycle and a helmet to talk to.